Oh yeah, you gotta have your track shoot. Yeah, we gotta have a good picture of that and then send it to your, then we gotta send it to your track coach.
Oh yeah, you can send it.
We'll blow up a big canvas and put it in the hallway.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Only one that's ever won javelin.
It'll be, yeah. So I'm probably gonna do it.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Good evening. It's a packed house. I appreciate your patience, but it's exciting. It's towards the end of the year, and you can feel the energy. So thank you for being here. We'll start with roll call. Director Drake.
Liz Drake, Director, District 3.
Hiroshi Eto, Director, District 5.
Jeffrey McAnalloy, Director District 1.
Carol Gregory, Director, District 4.
Tammy Campbell, Superintendent.
We have no ROTC this evening, so if you all please rise, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that the Board of Education approve the meeting agenda for June 13th, 2017, as submitted.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll now entertain a motion for the approval of the required approvals agenda.
I move the Board of Education approve the required approvals agenda of June 13, 2017, as submitted.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have introduction of new administrative staff. Dr. Campbell.
At this time, I'd like to have our Chief of Communications and Strategy, Cassie Swenson, come up and share sort of brief bios about some of our incoming administrators as well as administrators who are changing assignments. Cassie Swenson, thank you.
Good evening, Board President McAnalloy, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Tammy Campbell. It is my pleasure to introduce new principal and administrative leadership to the team here at Fedway Public Schools, beginning in the 2017-18 school year. Some of our administrators have chosen Fedway Public Schools to offer their experiences and talents and to offer their leadership expertise. I am pleased to share the appointment of the principal of Illahee Middle School for the 2017-18 school year. Brianna Ward is currently assistant principal at Decatur High School, where she has oversight of the social studies, physical education and health, and career and technical education, visual arts, and family and consumer sciences departments. She is the administrator with oversight of 9th and 10th grade students and programs and supervises Decatur's athletic programs. Previously, she was an administrative intern and family and consumer sciences teacher at South Kitsap High School. Brianna earned a Bachelor of Arts in Family and Consumer Sciences Education from Washington State University and a master's degree in Educational Administration from Western Washington University. Brianna is an instructional leader who is passionate about ongoing learning and professional development, specifically in the areas of professional learning communities and social emotional learning. Please join me in congratulating Brianna Ward.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President McAnalloy, members of the school board, and Dr. Campbell. I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve as principal at Illahee Middle School in this great district. The work we are engaged in is very exciting and so critical to the success of our scholars, and I am so grateful to be in this role. I look forward to getting to work. Thank you.
I am pleased to share the appointment of the principal of Taft at Sahalee for the 2017-18 school year. Christina Spencer is currently the interim principal at Decatur High School. As part of her current role, she has redesigned the Scholar Support and Building Leadership model and has created opportunities for group and one-on-one mentoring for Scholars of Promise. In previous roles, Christina was an assistant principal, a dean of students, a career college readiness coordinator, and a teacher of mathematics and AVID. She also developed a high school and beyond curriculum and initiated implementation of the University of Washington DREAM project in a previous district. Christina graduated from Tuskegee University with a bachelor's degree in mathematics education and earned a master's degree in educational administration from Seattle University. She obtained both a teaching certificate and a principal certificate from Washington State University. Please join me in congratulating Christina Spencer.
Good evening. Good evening, Board President McAnalloy, members of the board, and Dr. Tammy Campbell. Unity is strength, and I'm excited to begin a collaborative journey with my Taft at Sahalee staff, the Technology Access Foundation, my co-principal, all of the families and students to produce positive outcomes for all of our scholars with unity and excitement. With that unity, I am ready to make every school day feel like a home game and a championship win for every scholar.
I am pleased to share the appointment of the principal of Decatur High School for the 2017-18 school year. For the past 3 years, Jamie Tuff has served as the assistant principal of Fedway High School and has direct oversight of the math and school support staff. In addition, Jamie has been an integral part of the implementation and oversight of restorative practices and re-engagement. She has led staff professional development for school-wide implementation of the CEL 5D framework and facilitated the implementation of school-wide professional learning communities. In previous roles, Jamie was a dean of students and teacher in which she taught video productions, applied math, sports marketing, and focused on developing curriculum standards and targets to ensure learning and growth for scholars. Jamie graduated from Washington State University with a Bachelor of Arts in Communications and completed a Master's in Administration from Heritage University. Please join me in congratulating Jamie Tuff.
Good evening, Board President McAnalloy, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell. I'm honored to be returning to my alma mater, where I graduated 20 years ago, Decatur High School, to serve as principal now. I believe in this district. I'm proud of where we're going, so much so I chose my son into our district. I can't wait to get started with the work. Thank you.
I am pleased to share the appointment of the principal of Todd Beamer High School for the 2017-18 school year. Eric Marshall has served successfully as a school principal at the elementary, middle, and high school levels. As part of his role as an executive educational leader, Eric has overseen the hiring, training, development, and retention of staff and the enforcement of policies and procedures. He has worked in Miami-Dade County in Florida, Charlotte-Mecklenburg in North Carolina, Brevard County in Florida, and Broward County, Florida, where he served as an exceptional teacher, assistant principal, and principal. Mr. Marshall possesses a wealth of experience and knowledge, including assessment, instructional practices, curriculum, and instruction. Eric graduated from Nova Southeastern University with an education specialist degree in educational leadership, a Master's of Education degree in education of the emotionally handicapped, and a bachelor's degree in political science. Please join me in congratulating Eric Marshall.
Good evening, Board President, Mr. McAnally, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell. I am very excited to get started. I'm coming all the way over from the East Coast, first time being on the Pacific Northwest. Really looking forward to working in this community and being part of the community. And also, I have a son that will be attending college his freshman year here in Washington State, so we're very happy to be near him. And I have had the opportunity to meet parents, students, and the community of Todd Beamer High School, so I'm very excited to get started, and thank you for this opportunity.
I am pleased to share the appointment of the assistant principal at Adelaide Elementary for the 2017-18 school year. Helen Babin will be the assistant principal at Adelaide. She is currently principal at Fawzia Sultan International School, a K-12 school in Hawali, Kuwait. Previously, she was principal designee at Asaj Academy Middle School in Doha, Qatar, principal designee at Campbell Hill Elementary in the Renton School District, principal designee at High Point Elementary in Seattle Public Schools, and an elementary special education teacher in Seattle and Chicago. Helen earned a bachelor's degree in education, special education from Loyola University, a Master of Education reading degree from National Louis University, and a leadership certificate and principal certification from City University. Please join me in congratulating Helen Babin.
Good evening, Board President McElnoy, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell. I am excited, humbled, and honored to work in Federal Way Public Schools because of the comprehensive strategic plan that is in place to direct the work that will support scholars to ensure that each scholar will reach their highest potential. I am looking forward to being part of Adelaide Elementary as assistant principal, serving the scholars, their families, staff, Principal Michelle Frank, and to support the efforts that ensure each scholar has the opportunity to thrive, have confidence, and meet or exceed standards of performance in all subjects. Thank you.
I am pleased to share the appointment of an assistant principal to Decatur High School for the 2017-18 school year. Ida Acton will join the administrative team at Decatur High School as assistant principal. She is currently Dean of Students and administrative intern at Sequoia Middle School. She previously was curriculum manager and lead English teacher for AIM Academy at Federal Way High School and English lead advisory teacher for Leadership High School in San Francisco County. She earned a bachelor's degree in humanities from Evergreen State College, a Master of Education from Mills College, and will earn principal certification through the Danforth Educational Leadership Program at the University of Washington. Please join me in congratulating Ida Acton.
Thank you. Board President McAnally, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell, I am so excited to support Jamie Tuff in leading Decatur High School for equity and scholar success, and am really just looking forward to this next phase working with the Federal Way Public Schools. So, thank you very much.
I am pleased to share the appointment of an assistant principal to Federal Way High School for the 2017-18 school year. Josh Egg-Palza is currently Dean of Students at Federal High School, where he also serves on the Advancement via Individual Determination, or AVID, site team. He previously was a social studies teacher at the school and has also participated in the Extended Learning Opportunity Summer Program for the district. Josh earned a Bachelor of Arts in History from Washington State University and Master in Teaching from Whitworth University. He will earn Educational Leadership Certification through Western Governors University. Please join me in congratulating Josh Egg-Palza.
Good evening, Board President McAnally, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell. It is with great excitement and privilege for me to continue to serve scholars, teachers, and the community at Federal Way High School as their assistant principal. I'm looking forward to collaborating with all stakeholders and supporting each and every one of them to ensure our scholars have access to opportunities and the best education experience. I can't wait to get started. Thank you.
I am pleased to share the appointment of an assistant principal to Federal Way High School for the 2017-18 school year. Kalila Rasan is currently an administrative intern at Cleveland High School in the Seattle School District. She previously served as a Spanish teacher, World Language Department chair, and career ladder teacher leader and mentor at Chief South International High School, also in Seattle. She was an adult educator for the Highline School District, a Spanish and bilingual instructor at Winston Churchill High School in Eugene, and an English as a second language instructor for the Mesoamerica Language Institute in San Pedro, Costa Rica. Kalila earned a bachelor's degree in Spanish and sociology and a master's degree in education from the University of Oregon, and will receive principal certification through the Danforth Educational Leadership Program at the University of Washington. Please join me in congratulating Kalila Rasan.
Good evening, Board President McNally, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell. I feel honored and blessed to be able to join the team at Federal Way High School. This school year, I look forward to building relationships with students, teachers, families, staff, and community members, and ensuring that all of our scholars have the best opportunities and challenges when it comes to their education. I want them to be stimulated and have a healthy education. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
I am pleased to share the appointment of an assistant principal to Todd Beamer High School for the 2017-18 school year. Andrea Love is currently Dean of Students and Administrative Intern at Health Sciences and Human Services High School in the Highline School District. She previously was lead secondary counselor for Highline and head school counselor for New Start High School Choice Academy, the Connection Center, and the Learning Center, also in Highline. Additionally, she was lead summer program teacher and a para-educator for New Start High School. Andrea earned a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, a Master of Education in School Counseling, and Principal Certification from Seattle Pacific University. Please join me in congratulating Andrea Love.
Good evening, Board President McAnally, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell. I am honored to be joining the Federal Way School District and the administrative team at Todd Beamer. I'm excited about the opportunity to support and lead strong instruction for all scholars while building a safe and welcoming school environment. Thank you so much.
I am pleased to share the appointment of an assistant principal to Todd Beamer High School for the 2017-18 school year. Val Minata is currently Dean of Students at Federal Way High School. He previously served as the school's athletic director and substitute district athletic director. He was health and physical education teacher and coach for Homewood Flossmoor High School in Flossmoor, Illinois, and health and physical education teacher and coach at Uplift High School in Chicago. He earned a Bachelor of Science in Physical Education from Northern Michigan University, a master's degree in educational leadership from St. Francis University, and will earn principal certification and a master's degree in educational administration from Grand Canyon University. Please join me in congratulating Val Minata.
Good evening, Board President McAnally, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell. I'm very excited about my new role as an assistant principal at Todd Beamer High School. I look forward to collaborating with community and staff members to ensure the success of our scholars. Thank you.
I am pleased to share the appointment of an assistant principal to Todd Beamer High School for the 2017-18 school year. Paul Reed will move from Lakota Middle School to assistant principal at Todd Beamer High School for the 2017-18 school year. While at Lakota Middle School, Paul has worked with other building leaders on the evolution of Lakota's school-wide discipline approach, including the adoption of restorative practices. He also facilitated the school's prevention and attendance teams and worked to increase family engagement. Prior to joining the Lakota leadership team, Paul was an administrative assistant and dean of students at Silver Lake Elementary and a teacher at Twin Lakes Elementary. Paul earned a bachelor's degree in education from Central Washington University, a master's degree in mathematics education from Lesley University, and a graduate certificate in principal certification from City University. Please join me in congratulating Paul Reed.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President McAnalloy, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Campbell. It is with great excitement and hope that I join the Todd Beamer learning community as we begin the new chapter during the 2017-18 school year. According to Goal 5 of the strategic plan, we have been charged to ensure that all scholars graduate college and career ready. I will listen to all stakeholders, and I will be relentless in my efforts to ensure each scholar's needs are met to prepare them during this time of transition. Thank you all for this opportunity.
I am pleased to share the appointment of an assistant principal to Truman High School for the 2017-18 school year. Aaron Balessa will move from Todd Beamer High School to assistant principal for Truman campus. While at Todd Beamer High School, Aaron oversaw the special education, career and technical education, physical and health education, visual arts, and family and consumer sciences departments. As the administrator responsible for 12th grade students, he guided graduation assurance with detailed tracking, follow-up, and intervention. Prior to joining the administrative team at Todd Beamer, Aaron was an English teacher, dean, and guidance support specialist also at Todd Beamer High School. Aaron earned a bachelor's degree in communications from the University of Utah and a master's degree in educational leadership from City University. Please join me in congratulating Aaron Balessa.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President McAnalloy, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Tammy Campbell. Though a bit sad to leave Todd Beamer High School at this time, I'm looking forward to the new opportunity to build relationships with more kids, with more staff members, and with more community members. So appreciate the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to Truman High School. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and I think now why most of you are here, we'll start with good news announcements.
All right. Just a little bit of a frame. 2 years ago, the board began to talk about exploring what it would look like or how we would potentially think about having scholar voice on the school board. We know in Federal Way Public Schools incorporating scholar voice is central to informing the work of serving each of our 23,000 scholars. Students from the student advisory to the superintendent team presented a recommendation and outlined the application and selection process for scholar representatives at board meetings. An interview team, including board members and students from the scholar advisory to the superintendent team, selected the 2 finalists. The purpose of scholar representatives' participation at board meetings on the board will be to provide valuable input on school district operations, an area the superintendent as CEO is held responsible for. And as board members, sometimes the intent and the impact we have on our decisions don't align, and so scholar voice is critical in sharing that with us. This effort is in support of District Strategic Plan Goal 2, Thriving, Confident, Responsible Individuals.
And before I introduce the representatives, I just wanted to mention how the process was so rigorous, and it was great to see these young scholars represent themselves in a meeting with the 5 board members and 4 of their peers. They talked about their calling, how they feel they wanted to be representatives of their student body. They talked about what they bring to the table, and how this opportunity fits into their future. They were super self-aware of their strengths, and they were talking about and aware of weaknesses and how they work around those weaknesses. So they have this wonderful concept of leadership, how they can engage the hearts and minds of others to make an influence on the future of the school district. So I thought it was a really great process. So please join me in congratulating the scholars selected to serve as scholar representation on the board for fall 2017. Cedric Denard II. And Michaela Reedy. Unfortunately, Michaela was unable to attend. Next, I would like to thank the 4 scholars who participated in the interview team. Please come forward when I call your name. Angela Hong. Sydney Nash. Harley Newman. And Philip Philbrick. Thank you all so much for your leadership.
The Federal Way Public Schools Board of Directors Student Voice Scholarship Award celebrates the accomplishments of 2 class of 2017 scholars who have used their voices to make a difference in their school and community. This supports thriving, confident, responsible individuals, Goal 2 of the district strategic plan. This is the inaugural year for the Scholarship Award, the very first year that we're doing this. Each scholar receives $500. No.
I wasn't aware of. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. The following 2 scholars have been selected as 2017 winners. Please come forward. Kalia Lang. And Maria Ibrahimi. Students from the student advisory to the superintendent team came up with a selection process and criterion, and presented their recommendation to the board. The board reviewed and selected scholarship recipients. Congratulations. We can't wait to see where your dreams take you. Thank you.
All right, this is rather special. Tonight, we would like to recognize the quick action of our school district employees who helped save the life of one of our district security officers. On June 6th, Federal Way School District Security Officer Craig Plummer was on site at Valhalla Elementary when he felt unwell and collapsed. School staff took immediate action. They contacted 911. Lead Security Officer Paris Mammon and Principal Kristen Schroeder stepped right in to administer an automated external defibrillator, also known as an AED, and saved Craig's life. We are so very grateful Craig feels well enough to be with us here tonight. Craig, Paris, and Kristen, you're already here to be recognized. I won't even ask you to come forward. Craig told us if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be alive. We'd also like to thank the emergency responders from South King and Fire Rescue. Paris, Kristen, and South King Fire and Rescue. This incident represents how good preparation, training, and quick action can literally save a life. And I was talking to Principal Schroeder, and I asked her how she knew what to do, and she said the AED talks you through it. So that's really was good for me to know, and I think it's good for our community to know as well, not to be afraid, because it will walk you through it. As heroes of the day, you went above and beyond the call to keep our friend and team members safe. We are so proud and grateful for your leadership. Thank you so much from all of us. Thank you. In support of Strategic Plan Goal 2, Whole Child, Thriving, Confident, Responsible Individuals, Adelaide Elementary set out to increase attendance. Mrs. Tommy Pepper's kindergarten class was the first to reach 8 weeks of perfect attendance, and it is now at 11 weeks. Wow. Well, yes. Will Mrs. Pepper and the following students please come forward to be recognized? Evenly to O, Diego Mendoza Orellana, Valeria Garcia Contreras, Cordell Bell, Olivia Lovelace, and Rezo Olanda. Congratulations, scholars, and keep up the good work. Yeah. Awesome. Nicely done, nicely done. Awesome, okay.
That's cute.
President McAnally said they have 12 more years to continue to practice perfect attendance. It's awesome. All right. Congratulations to the Thomas Jefferson High School girls tennis team, who was named the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association Academic State Champions with a team GPA average of 3.939. Now that you've already come forward, when I call your name, now that you gals are already forward, would you just kind of raise your hand when I call your name so people know who you are? Kelly Dillard, Erica Dillard, Maya Frame, Jamie Grawl, Michelle Kim, Amber LeBlanc, McKaylee Moore, Elaine Nguyen, Violetta Paknyuk, Alexandra Peterson, Mia Rosa, Gianni White, and Grace Sohoon Lim. Coaches and administrators are welcome to come forward for the photo, and they're already here as well. Scholastic Awards program recognizes the team with the highest grade point average among all Washington high schools in their enrollment classification. This effort is in direct support of Goal 3 of our strategic plan, active learners, engaged, empowered, critical thinkers, and also Goal 4, content, area mastery, and competence, mastery of all subjects. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Go Raiders!
Marvelous. I would now like to call forward two students who excelled at the Future Business Leaders of America state competition held in Spokane. Federal Way High School Junior and Future Business Leaders of America Chapter President Simon Struthers earned first place. Come forward, Simon.
Oh, nice.
He earned first place in the word processing category. Freshman and Future Business Leaders of America Vice President Gabriel Smith earned third in cybersecurity.
Congratulations.
Come forward.
Nicely done.
Congratulations.
Well done. Well done. This was the capstone experience for students with career interests in business, drawing nearly 2,400 students, advisors, and industry professionals together for 60 hours of leadership, education, and competition. This effort is in direct support of the district strategic plan goal 3, active learners, engaged, empowered, critical thinkers. Congratulations to you both. And moving on. So many exciting things this evening. It's really electric. Did you know the elementary track and field program consists of approximately 2,000 K-5 scholars from 24 schools led by 50 coaches? Did you know that? This well-loved program recently held its championship meet. These scholar athletes are engaged, empowered, active learners, which is part of the district strategic plan goal 3. I would like to honor the top performing girls and boys out of all 333, that's a nice number, participants. When I call your name, please come forward. Guion Lee. Earned the most points out of all boy participants. Jacob Herskin. Earned the second highest points. Domani Urizipi and Vitali Tishnoko tied for earning the third highest points. Jada Lewis earned the most points out of all the girl participants. Jada Lewis. Emily De La Cruz earned the second highest points. Cassandra Atkins and Sukoana Waters tied for earning the third highest points. Please, any coaches and administrators, please come forward to join us for pictures. We are so proud of all our scholar athletes. Come forward, coaches, administrators, anyone.
All right. Yeah, because the coaches are coming. No. Yeah, just get more. The what? Yeah. Oh, congratulations. Great. Hi.
And now, moving forward, our scholar athletes who recently participated in the Special Olympics regional track and field meet and soccer tournament really brought home the gold, silver, and bronze. They placed so well that many went on to compete and win at the Special Olympics state tournament too. Would all Special Olympics scholars, athletes who are here this evening, please come forward to be recognized? Do come forward. All our scholar athletes. These scholar athletes are engaged, empowered, active learners that is part of the District Strategic Plan Goal 3. Would Sharon Boyle, if you haven't already come forward, Federal Way Public Schools Special Olympics Unified Athletic Coordinator, do come forward. And any principals involved in this, any administrators, please come forward to accept the certificates on behalf of all the scholar athletes. We are so proud of you for these achievements. Congratulations. Woo!
Nicely done.
Our next group is the Illahee math team, and I will be calling their names, but before I do that, I want to make a comment about how life is about learning, and there are no shortcuts. And I learned that again today, because when I prepared for this board meeting, I went to my list of good news announcements, and there's always one that has my name on it. So that's the only page I read. Consequently, they have me on 4 pages, so I apologize for not being ready for the first. The Illahee math team's dedication is astounding. They get up early every Saturday morning to solve rigorous math problems for 2 hours. Illahee's math team competed in the main Olympiads for elementary and middle school competitions, or the math, I'm sorry. Over 120,000 students participated on over 5,000 member teams across all 50 states, 13 American territories, and 23 foreign countries. 10 members scored in the top 50 of all the math Olympiads for elementary and middle school participants internationally. When I call your name, please come forward to be recognized. Now, these are the top 50 out of 120,000 that started this event. What? Jonah Misra? Michael Sin? Frank Ton? Luis Pablo Ferreira Laura? Andy Kim? Ryan Kim? Daniel Chung? Paola Duarte Garcia? Scott McLaren? Evelyn Stoven? Grace Chong? Carter Mitchell? Jameson Carmel? William Hong? This effort is in direct support of district strategic plan goal 4, content area competence, mastery of all subjects. In addition, we would like to recognize Austin Kim, a current student at Thomas Jefferson High School. Austin volunteers his time every week to help students. Austin is also on TJ's math team, yet still finds time and energy to come to every practice. Teachers and administrators are welcome to come forward now for the photos if you're not already up here. We would next like to recognize our scholars who placed at the 11th Annual Math Bonanza at Thomas Jefferson High School. Please come forward when I call your name. Nathan Andulem, 3rd place, individual, 4th grade. Hu Mei, 3rd place, individual, and 3rd place, mental math, 7th grade. Jacob Norris, 1st place, individual, 8th grade. Amy Ojaburu, 3rd place, individual, 8th grade. Connor McQuiston, 3rd place, mental math, 6th grade. Secha Park, first place, mental math, 8th grade. Junmin On, second place, mental math, 8th grade. Zoe Aquino, third place, mental math, 8th grade. We would like to recognize the Federal Way 8th grade teams who swept first, second, and third place in the team division. Some of those team members are already standing here, but if there are other members here, please come forward. If you are on one of these math teams, please come forward. Coaches and administrators are welcome to come forward at this time as well. This effort is in direct support of the district's strategic plan, Goal 4, Content Area Competence, Mastery of All Subjects. Congratulations, math scholars, on your achievements in the competition. We are proud of you. Next, we are so proud of the Todd Beamer High School boys soccer team. For winning the state championship. The win was the first state title for Beamer in any sport since the school opened its doors in 2003. I was going to say, scholars, please come forward when I call your names, but you read my mind, so raise your hand when I call your name, please. Brandon Locke, would you recognize yourself? Okay. Richard Bezos, are you here? Jordan Carmel, are you here? Raise your hand so they can see. Eric Pena, are you here? Therese Collins, Sean Narayan, Jacob Allen, Jonathan Fisher, Zach Gregg, Austin Stafford, Faraz Hamidani, Jonah Fuller, Adam Schoen, Diego Sanchez, Dylan Alley, Gregorio Romero, Mike Philomunov, Malik Henry, and Luke Gregg. This effort is in direct support of Goal 3 of our strategic plan, active learners, engaged, empowered, critical thinkers, and Goal 4, content area competence, mastery of all subjects. Congratulations.
Our next recognition represents how community service organizations understand how it's not on just the teachers, the schools, and the parents to improve outcomes for our scholars. This is to recognize how they can be in direct support of Strategic Goal 5, persistence to graduation. I'd like to ask Lions President Jim Stiles and the rest of his members from the Lions Club to please come forward to be recognized. The Federal Way Lions Club presented 11 scholarships to seniors totaling $10,000 to help fund college expenses, including books, class fees, and since its inception 60 years ago, the Lions has awarded over $96,900 in scholarships to Federal Way students. Yes, let's give them a hand for that. In addition, 22 middle school 8th graders were honored with Student Scholar of the Year awards. These scholars represented outstanding leadership, academics, and service to their school and our community. We want to thank every member of the Lions Club for their great contribution. Thank you. Our next recognition is for scholar athletes that are engaged, empowered, active learners, and are in direct support of District Strategic Goal 3. We are so proud of Kemwell Santana from Decatur High School. He placed first in the 200-meter dash in the 4A category, and third place 400-meter dash in the 4A category. Congratulations. We'd also like to recognize Kaylin Hyde from Federal Way High School. Kaylin placed first place in the girls' discus throw ambulatory and second place girls' shot put ambulatory. Awesome. Congratulations to Kaylin.
Open doors. Ashley. Do you want me to?
Good evening. I'm Ashley Barker. I'm the principal at Federal Way Open Doors, and it's my absolute honor to recognize one of our graduates this evening in alignment with Persistence to Graduation, Goal 5 of our strategic plan. I'll read a summary about this graduate, and then I'll call him up to be recognized individually. So Dylan Monroy started his educational career as a scholar at Lake Duluth, Wildwood, and then on to Sacagawea. He wanted to get through school but was discouraged many times, and he wanted to give up. Dylan started back at Decatur High School and then realized that Gateway to College would be a great option for him. When Gateway to College didn't fit his changing work needs, Dylan transferred back into Open Doors. Not very far into Dylan being at Open Doors, he felt he had to quit school to work and support himself. While he was earning money, he realized he needed to come back and earn his diploma to make a living wage in today's economy. Dylan is very proud today that he completed one of his first of many goals to be able to provide for his growing family. I want to congratulate Dylan. I also want to recognize his family who's here tonight and his little baby daughter who's here this evening as well to watch her daddy graduate. Okay.
Dylan. Nice job, buddy.
Well done, Dylan. Well done. I want to just recognize one more thing. Dylan's education is not finished with Federal Way Open Doors. He has his diploma tonight. He's working with Seattle Education Access to get his college certification in either welding or electrician. So he'll be working to support us here shortly.
Just give everybody a minute, those that were wishing to leave. We're not trying to scare you away, but. Our next item on the agenda is Thomas Jefferson High School robotics demonstration. Dr. Campbell.
As most in the city know, and across the state, TJ has quite the impressive robotics program. And in the spirit of student voice, which is a part of our strategic plan, scholars will often reach out to me. And the TJ Robotics leadership team wanted to come and just give a shout out to some folks and to share some of the good deeds of the Robotics Club. I'm going to ask those scholars to come up to the podium and provide your presentation to the board so they can hear what you've been up to, as well as your coach, who happens to be your dad, right? Yes, I thought you belonged together, yep.
Is it this board?
That's the podium.
Okay, cool. So if we could have our presentation brought
Pulled up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
It's there
Oh,
under the
I
top.
see.
There you go.
Yep.
No problem. My pleasure.
Okay, cool. So I'd like to introduce myself and my friend here. I am Julia Sheets. I am a 10th grader at Thomas Jefferson High School, and I am the new captain of our robotics team. And I'd like to mention the first ever female captain we've ever had. So.
I'm Luke Sorensen. I'm a 10th grader at Thomas Jefferson High School. I am the business captain on our team, also media.
So we'd like to really share today a bit about what we do, and also to thank the school board for their continuous support for our program and how much it means to us to be able to have that support to accomplish what we are able to do every day and to really be able to fulfill our dreams in the future. So we'll begin.
So let's talk a little about preseason. So at the beginning of the year, we try to get our incoming freshmen and incoming students interested in robotics by going to the orientation days. So then once people are interested, then we start, having them try out the different sub-teams we have. We have the design team, the build team, the programming team, and then the business and media team. So we get them interested in that area. We start training them, as you can see here, in the certain areas. Also in the preseason, we attend certain volunteering events for other first divisions, like First Lego League. And then we also go out and present in our community what we've done last year, as you can see, with also Dr. Tammy Campbell there.
So we'd also like to talk about our build season. So the way robotics really works is we have 6 weeks to we need to design the robot and then program it, build it, and also market it out. And in this process, we work with the design process very closely because we have a kickoff day for when the 6 weeks begins. We all get together. It's a very democratic process, and it really teaches us how to handle the design process that is really applied in the real world. And like you can probably see in all these pictures, it's a very collaborative event and a continuous event as we spend pretty much every day after school till about 5 to 6 p.m. working on our robot and working in our particular sub-teams.
Finally, once the robot is finished and is bagged, we'll have competitions that we scheduled at the beginning of the season. So, in my opinion, I think competitions are a lot more harder than the actual build season because you have to be working with your team constantly. Like, you have to be really focused every day working with the other teams that are in your alliance. A little thing about this year's competition, it was called First Steamworks. And so what we had to do was we had to perform certain tasks. We had to do certain things in the game to be able to score as many points as we could. So we traveled to Auburn Mountain View and to Glacier Peak, and we gained enough ranking points, which is the way that you can get to district events and then hopefully to Worlds down in the district championships in Cheney.
And luckily, we did achieve the number of ranking points necessary in order to attend the World Championships, which was held this year in Houston, Texas. And so we flew down about 16 students, and we competed there among 400 other teams from around the world, from countries from South America, Asia, Australia, Europe. And we were able to collaborate with these teams, really learn to overcome cultural barriers and work with them, and also be able to share our ideas as U.S. citizens with people that are citizens of China or other countries. And also while we were there, we were able to go visit Johnson Space Center, which was also extremely inspiring to those of us who one day want to work in aeronautical engineering or aerospace engineering. And it allows us to see where maybe one day we could set our foot into as engineers.
So then during the off season, there were a couple other events that we attended or we collaborated with. There was between Cheney district event and Houston Worlds, the Federal Way Public Schools hosted a STEM night at Federal Way High School, and so we attended that, and we brought our robot from about a year ago there to show off to the kids, and sometimes parents and other kids would come up and ask us about the robot, and we'd supply them with information. We tried to get them interested into the STEM that Dr. Tammy Campbell has been trying to get our scholars into. We also, two of our mentors work at Blue Origin, which is a commercial space industry that makes rockets. So we traveled there and we learned about the classified ways that they built their rockets and how they shot them up and what they're doing now. Then just last week, we had our Thomas Jefferson Red and Gold Carnival, to where we presented pretty much what we're presenting right now to fellow students and tried to get them interested into robotics. And also, as you can see, our Governor Jay Inslee decided to have a little chat with a couple of our members talking about robotics and how it impacts our students today and the impact it has on education and future careers.
So just to wrap it up, we'd really like to thank again the school board and particularly the superintendent's office for giving an incredibly generous donation to our program that was able to really make us more at ease with making many robot parts. We were able to build a second robot this year to practice with, and just with all this continuous support from the school board and the community, because it takes really an entire crew to pilot this aircraft that we're trying to get off the ground. And so thank you again, and that we are TJ Robotics.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
Expect more championships from you guys.
All right, next item on the agenda is the legislative update by Director Drake.
This is going to be a much shorter presentation than normal. The second session actually ends on June the 21st, so it's just around the corner. And not a lot of progress is being made by our legislators in fully funding our basic education. Things are just not moving. Something that I looked into today, I went on the WASDA site, and it looks as if the delinking, which we've been talking about, for English language arts, math, and science, actually passed to the Rules Committee. So that's, we are very concerned about the numbers of our scholars who will not be able to graduate because they have not passed some of these high stakes exams, tests. And we are particularly looking at Senate Bill 5891, which is specifically biology. And we heard that that should be heard today, and I wasn't able to track anything down. So we're chasing that. We're getting in touch with our legislators. I know Dr. Campbell is also.
We have about 180 scholars that will be impacted by this, but this is something that every district faces.
Yes.
And it sounds like this particular part of the requirement has the strongest possibility of being passed.
Yes.
We're watching it.
So hopefully, it's graduation season. We want to see our scholars able to graduate. So, but I was actually listening to NPR yesterday, and I heard Jay Inslee on NPR getting very frustrated with our legislators and saying you need, legislators, you need to sit down and talk to each other. Because at the moment, what's going on is between committees, they're just passing papers, talking about ideas of how we're going to raise the funds without actually talking. They're just passing memos to each other. June the 30th is the drop dead. So June 21st is when the second session ends. June 30th is when, if we do not have a budget, we could have a partial shutdown of our state government. It doesn't, the various people I've spoken with don't think it's going to get to that point, but we're getting awfully close, and it's a little depressing. So I'm afraid I can't leave with anything other than that rather sad story.
Thank you. So this is time for public comment. We don't have any this evening, but just to make you aware, there are blue sheets on the back table. You fill out those blue sheets and turn them in over to my right, and that's how you make public comments. So next will be superintendent comments. Dr. Campbell.
I will be brief. I'm just excited about graduation. That will be happening this Saturday. We'll have over 1,500 graduates crossing the stage. And our work every day in this district is to be sure that when they cross the stage, they're going into better opportunities, post-secondary career, the military. And I can't wait to celebrate with our scholars and their families.
Great, thank you. All right, now school board comments. Director Drake, you start us this evening?
I just want to, and listening to our TJ scholars, robotics, just reinforces just how powerful student voice is and what a difference it's making. During the interviews, both the interviewees and the 4 scholars who actually interviewed the interviewees with us for the school board positions, the 2 school board positions, it just came across so strongly, exactly what Director Eto was saying. It's just so exciting to see their focus, their drive, their determination. In talking with one of the scholars during break, she was saying what a difference being involved in the superintendent's advisory committee has made personally to her, but also to all her friends that now feel they have a conduit, a way of communicating to the superintendent. It's huge. At TJ, it was referenced by the robotics scholars. Jay Inslee, our governor, came to TJ and spoke with parents and staff members and scholars. And the scholars were advocating so powerfully what they felt he, as the governor of our state, could do to improve education. Yes, in Federal Way, but across the state. They have this ability to express themselves so clearly, and it makes you very proud. And I just wanted to mention the retirement celebration. So much work went into the very first retirement celebration. I loved the small details, that white chairs, white tablecloth, everything was done so well. And I know a lot of your team worked many, many hours. And the table I was sitting at, people were saying how much they appreciated that some of them had worked in the district 20, 30 plus years, and to actually feel that they were being celebrated for everything made them feel so proud. So, yeah, it's good.
An annual tradition. This is when other districts that I've been in, they've had this type of ceremony, and we knew we wanted to bring something like this to Federal Way.
Great. Director Eto?
I was also really happy to see the TJ Robotics team get an opportunity to talk about their success, and I'm really happy that the superintendent's office has been so supportive in terms of funding their efforts. I was always concerned about how some of these teams who have this really once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity to go to a national championship to have to scrounge up funds. And so I'm not talking about baseline funding all the clubs, but it's great to see that when a club steps up and has that opportunity that we're having them go forward. It reminds me of the film that's, the IMAX film that's up in Seattle right now called Dream Big, that was co-sponsored by the American Society of Civil Engineers. Small team out of Albuquerque, beat Ivy League colleges in a competition with a submersible. And it was great to see that, their community was able to support them in getting these championships, and we're doing the same. Earlier, we had a graduation out of Open Doors, and about a week ago, I had an opportunity to visit that facility. It was the first time that I'd been there. And I didn't realize the method used. So I had this operating concept that there would be classrooms, and then there's teachers of different subjects. And it's a walk-in type of facility, and it's kind of self-driven, and it's internet-based. And so the teachers that are there to help and support. And so that's why it made it so clear how these students who have very unique situations can only pop in every once in a while to complete their graduation, like the young man that was in here today, is just a totally different kind of a situation. It doesn't require a certain pace, or you can't enforce a pace to get something done in a quarter or a semester in a classroom setting. So it was really eye-opening, and I'm really glad that that facility is going to get out of those leased spaces and moved over into Truman, because the support services at Truman are all there to help a situation like that, where they're in a strip mall and they have to lock the doors because somebody could wander in thinking it's an internet cafe. So the security is going to be better, these facilities will be better, so I was really happy to see what we've got going there, and it's just a great success story to see graduates from that program.
Thank you.
First, I want to welcome all the new administrative staff and also our scholar reps, and they'll be really officially seated in September. I'm not sure if we were clear or whether people heard that, but it's really quite exciting. On the 31st, I had a chance to go to the chess jamboree at Todd Beamer High School, where we had a number of chess players from kindergarten all the way up, and I don't know how to play chess, but I now want to learn how to play chess. And what I have to just say is the parent involvement and engagement of families that were there was amazing. Parents talked about how this was a game changer for many of the young people there, and I will say that our young boys outnumbered girls probably 4 to 1. And it was amazing to watch them be engaged and interact, not by chronological age, but by skill level in their ability to play chess. So it was fabulous.
We'll have a chess camp in July if you want to come and learn, Director
I am
Wilson.
going to come because there was a beginners group and I didn't want to join it, so thank you.
We'll help.
I'm going to chess camp so somebody can play me next year. I also had a chance on the 1st of June to sit on the panels for TAF Academy where they have senior project presentations and seniors share their projects and also defend their projects. And the panels that I sat on this year was all of the presentations were focused around music, and I found that exceptional, and the research behind the young people that they had done was exceptional as well, and really focused on headsets and music and the kinds of music and how it impacts your productivity as a scholar, also how it reduces stress, and also how it impacts issues related to mental health and wellness. And what I shared with the 3 young men that did the presentations, 3 separate ones, all their research bore out that during direct instruction, it's really important to listen, but each of us have a different way of processing and working. And so it's really important to know yourself and to be able to have conversations with your teachers and share with them how you learn best and the kind of music that kind of is a productive one instead of one that gets in your way. They were wonderful. I volunteered at Valhalla, and I can say nothing more than Federal Way has incredible community members, and that school was teeming with volunteers from all over, young and old, to make a carnival opportunity for young people who oftentimes families don't have enough money to be able to go to Seattle Center or something else, so it really is a highlight of the year. I want to extend also a thanks to the admin. We went to the all-admin meeting that Dr. Campbell had, the last one of the year, and really just the kudos and the thanks for all the hard work that leadership team and your admin team has done. Retirement celebration, I had 4 pluses. I know I've been to 6 years worth of school board recognitions where time after time had staff come in and share with us right there that they weren't coming back and had been here for many years, so it was clearly a wonderful thing to be able to celebrate them and to really raise them up and to thank them for their service. And then I guess I just want to end with saying that we have some, again, amazing people in our community, and on Saturday I spent most of the day at Federal Way Regional Library along with the librarians and Betty Taylor from the Lay Project, and Saturday just happened to be the launch of summer programs, and again, if you're a parent with children and don't have a lot of money, oh my goodness, check out the library because the summer programs are amazing. But the library had done a drive for supplies for Lays, for young people that we could use and that they could donate, the Lay Project could donate to the district. And so at the library on Saturday, a lot of the young people and people that were just coming to the library to visit stopped by and were able to make almost, I believe, 60 lays that will go to the Fred buses, and that's in addition to the 100 lays or more that Zahalie middle schoolers were able to make. So I just appreciate the efforts to support our families, especially those that find themselves sometimes in need and without resources. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Gregory.
Being the 4th on the list makes coming up with something that you haven't already heard hard, but I do have one. Saturday, I went to the Saturday market, and I was so impressed to see how the Federal Way School District is reaching out to our community through the market. The Fred bus was there, so people could ask questions about that. A regular bus was there because we were recruiting for bus drivers. And then there was a booth where people could come and talk. And I really want to thank the staff that gave up their Saturday to come and work at the booth. It was very rewarding to see, and you could see people really using that opportunity to find out more about the school district.
Great, thank you. So try being fifth every time. So I reiterate, right, things that I've just done. Retired celebration was amazing. Cassie and team and all that you did, it just was phenomenal to actually send off those that have given many years. I think that the number one was 41 years of service. So it was pretty amazing, the time and efforts that were given in and what they have done for our scholars over the decades of time. Governor Inslee's visit is always powerful. This is his third visit to our district this year, which is also pretty phenomenal when you think you have 295 of them in the state. So I think we're being recognized at the state level for the work that is being done. Scholar Voice was amazing in that presentation. There were 8 of them that shared. Part of what this draw was really the march that the Black Student Union did to really take care of their neighborhood. How do we bring things back together? How do we find and form things? And our scholars are doing that. And it's part of it is giving them voice, right? So as we give them voice and give them abilities, what they do within our own communities and the impact that they have is pretty phenomenal. All we have to do is give them a platform and watch them go. And it is amazing the things that can happen and what they advocate for. When we talk about scholars, it's been a 3-year process that we have had a discussion around having scholar voice on this board. It's a culmination night tonight that comes together that makes me very proud of things that you push from a board perspective that can make a difference. And it's really going to be phenomenal when we move forward in September to hear where they're at and what they do and what they bring to push us as a board as well around that piece. My last piece is the 23rd and 24th. The Ledge Committee will come together here in Federal Way, statewide legislative committee, to start creating our platform for 2018. So we haven't even got things finalized for 2017, and we will begin the work for 2018 on what our priorities will be. So, and I just want to tie it back when we think about what our tagline is, right? So I think if we stop and you hear it over and over, the voice that we're giving to our scholars as you begin to look at the dreams that are coming and the things that have happened out of what they've done this year as we packed this room tonight, what a bright future our scholars have, and hopefully it'll come back to our community to make a difference in all of our lives and in this community of Federal Way. So thank you. All right, next item is quarterly report. So we actually had 3 committees. We're down to just 1 left because facilities pretty has moved on. The scholar representation has moved on. So Director Drake, City Council update, please.
So at the last board meeting, if you remember, and we're running short of time, I did actually talk about the City Council meeting that we held on May the 19th. And that there's momentum. And Carol, Director Gregory, and myself are on that committee, and I'd say it's achieving good things.
Perfect, thank you. Forgot about that, so yes, that's good. All right, operational effectiveness is our next item. So the Murphy Academic Inspirational Scholarship Awards, Dr. Campbell.
Yes, this is an annual tradition, and I will invite our Principal Association leaders up to announce the winners.
Good evening, Board President McAnalloy, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Campbell. I'm Michael Swartz, and I'm the president of the Principals Association, and I'm here with Jerry Warren and Stacy Lucas to announce the winners of the scholarship for Tom Murphy Inspirational Award. And we have 8 schools that will be having winners, and they will receive a small token, a plaque with their name on it, and a check from the Principals Association for a $500 scholarship. So this is kind of an exciting time of the year for us that we get to do this as principals. So we're here representing all the principals, and especially the high school principals who went through the nomination process for these scholars. So we're going to read through the names and have them come up here and get their certificates. First, from Decatur High School is Charlene Rojas Apodaca. And I'm going to read a little bit about Charlene. Charlene is a shining star in the Decatur 12th grade AVID class. She was voted as the top AVID student by her 12th grade peers. She absolutely personifies the Gator Nation expectations of being present, respectful, taking ownership, being united, and being determined. She is a proud Gator. She has quietly and honorably battled and wrestled many struggles in her life, and through grit, hope, and a hunger to succeed, she has reigned victorious. After graduating from Decatur High School with a 3.5 GPA and within the top 5% of her class, Charlene will attend PLU in the fall. She will be working towards a law degree. Charlene is proof that it's not where you start, but where you end that matters the most. Congratulations, Charlene. From Federal Way High School, Michael Savusa. Michael has overcome many obstacles, but through these, he has been motivated to work hard in order to graduate from high school and go to college. Unfortunately, throughout his schooling, he had to move from place to place multiple times. This caused sadness, loneliness, and frustration. After his parents separated, he needed to take care of his family. He was able to see it was time to work hard, get better grades, help his community, and focus on being happy. Michael is an avid student at Federal Way High School. His advice to others is, if you are going through tough times, you have two choices. Take the pain and the weight of the world and let it crush you, or lift it and crush it yourself. But you don't have to do it alone. Loved ones will guide you. Congratulations, Michael. From Internet Academy, Alexi Poulin. Alexi is a student at the Internet Academy. She began to struggle in math during 9th grade, and this caused her to not see the purpose in school. Her lack of motivation spread to other classes, and she quickly fell behind in credits. She soon realized that this was taking a toll on her life, as she really wanted to start turning things around and graduate. Luckily for her, her mom stepped in and became her school coach. She checked in daily, contacted her teachers, and encouraged her to stay strong. Because of this and her own hard work, she was able to finish all of her classes on time, even a month ahead of time. Alexi's plan after high school is to pursue a career as a flight attendant, and will be attending school in the fall to make this happen. Her advice to others is don't give up. Do anything and everything you can to pass and graduate. Believe in yourself. Find and keep a great support system. Congratulations, Alexi.
And I get the pleasure of addressing Kay Al-Sultan from Open Doors. Kay began her journey in America from Saudi Arabian refugee camp, coming from Iraq in 2000, fleeing the Gulf War. She arrived in Michigan, where she attended school for 9 years. Her family then moved to Arizona to attend an online school. She struggled with the distraction and motivation, and she did not learn to her potential. Her freshman year, she attended a public school with her siblings, and it was the best year of her education. She got straight A's, and she made the dean's list. Her family moved to Washington after a short time in Iraq, and she attended online school for the remainder of her sophomore and junior year, where she continued to struggle until she was referred to the Acceleration Academy by Federal Way High School. Here, Kay has accomplished 9 credits, 8 classes, which is an amazing accomplishment. She came to Open Doors 2 years ago with her big brother. They always came in together, and he did most of the talking, as Kay was shy and quiet. She's come a long way from the shy and quiet student to an outgoing, supportive, helpful, and busy young woman. She has inspired some students to attend more regularly and be successful. Some even come in asking for her. She aspires to go to college and plans on pursuing a career in engineering and/or business. We all know Kay will be a successful, career-minded woman. Congratulations, Kay. And next we have Tulu Amudeep from Taft Academy. Originally, Tulu's family moved here from Nigeria. He has attended Taft Academy since 9th grade, coming from Pacific Middle School in the Highline School District. Tulu is always friendly and respectful to his peers and the Taft Academy staff and visitors on the campus. He stated that he has enjoyed the close-knit family atmosphere at Taft Academy, along with the friendships he has established more than anything. He is most proud of the personal growth he has made regarding his work ethic and the development of his skills. Tulu plans to study computer science at Bowie State University in Maryland. Our sincere congratulations and best wishes are extended to Tulu and his family in his accomplishments for his promising future. Congratulations, Tulu. From Thomas Jefferson High School, we have Daisy Camacho. Daisy believes she was privileged to have a life she had because of the sacrifices her parents made coming to the United States for a better life. One challenge she had that hugely impacted her life was that she stuttered. This caused her to not want to raise her hand, present in front of the class, or even speak to strangers. She was a happy, outgoing person, but didn't want to speak in fear of being judged or looked at differently. This made her determined to never give up. Daisy attended Renton schools before transferring to Federal Way Public Schools. Here, she was part of our Gear Up program, which helped her prepare for IB classes at Thomas Jefferson. Her advice for others is to take deep breath and breathe. Stressing over things won't get you anywhere. Just be positive. Congratulations, Daisy.
It is my honor to recognize Joel Macias from Todd Beamer High School. Joel entered school speaking. Joel entered school speaking a language other than English, that's Spanish. He remembers the hard work of being pulled out of class to read books and working at home with his mother so they both could learn how to read in English. This hard work showed him that he could do anything that he put his mind to. He spent the last 2 years working at Starbucks until 10 and 11 o'clock p.m. in the evening, and then studying for his biology class and maintaining a 3.8 GPA. He says it was worth it because college is his next step. Joel has been a saxophone section leader for the past 2 years and the drum major. Through this, he's a proven leader at all times. His advice to others is that although the road might be hard, might not be easy now, it will be worth it. Congratulations, Joel. Our next student is Marco Balbin. In 2011, Marco discovered that both of his parents were diagnosed with cancer and that they would spend a lot of time in the hospital trying to recover. Unfortunately, they did not win the battle with cancer. Although there was a deep scar from this, Marco's friends helped bandage this wound. Having to have to move away from these friends didn't help either. He became lonely and there was a decline in his personality and hobbies. Thankfully, he figured out that this was no way to live and that if he wanted to feel worthy of something, he must do it himself. His advice to others is that there will be times where life won't always go your way, where you'll bite the dust, but as tough as it may be, you just have to stand up and do what you need to do. You can do anything as long as you put your dedication and effort into it. Congratulations, Marco.
So thank you all. And Jerry Warren, I know that you had a conflict last week, but I would like to take a moment to acknowledge your time and service to this school district, and we wish you well as you head off into retirement. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Jerry will not be going far because Jerry will probably be pulled back in the district somehow. He just doesn't know that yet.
And my wife was listening on the telephone, so she heard that as well. Okay.
All right. So next item is the presentation and reading of Resolution 2017-05, Major Maintenance Borrowing.
I'd like to invite Sally McLean up to the podium to do a brief overview of this particular resolution.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Good evening, President McAnally, members of the board. This is a review of the information that was presented at the last board meeting. Let me make sure I open the right PowerPoint.
So Sally, give me just a minute because I didn't do this right. So let's make sure. So, no, it says here to do it, right? It says recess. Do it first? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay, so before you recess into public hearing, I will provide you with a baseline of information related to the major maintenance borrowing in Resolution 2017-05 for your consideration this evening. Again, this major maintenance this evening, we will provide some information about the needs, define the legal parameters of the borrowing, including the limits of the borrowing, identify the repayment source, and then just spend just a moment in closing to help people understand about the different kinds of bonds that we're talking about tonight, because we are actually talking about 2 different types of bonds. Once you recess to the public hearing and then close it, you will have the opportunity to take action on Resolution 2015-05. So again, all of our work is framed within the strategic plan. Oftentimes, for those of us in operations and services, it's a little bit more of a stretch to get from the work we do directly to our 5 goals, but I would just call out that the core purpose of district-level teams is to provide services and supports that are responsive, high-functioning, and ease the way for schools so they can focus on teaching for learning. And when we have conditions in our buildings and our physical plants that interfere with our principals' ability to be the kinds of instructional leaders we're looking for, that is one of the reasons we're here tonight to talk about that major maintenance. So again, we had independent analysis done of our boilers, our heating systems, our roofs, and our athletic fields. And I would remind people that our fields are not just for after-school activities, but they support our core curriculum, our PE curriculum during the course of the day. And fields are also widely used by our community. Based on that independent analysis, we identified a series of critical needs that total $13 million. In addition, as we look at building upgrades required to support our STEM and STEAM initiatives in direct support of the strategic plan, we have about $2 million worth of building renovation required there. And then just as a reminder, because this is not a new conversation, we actually started this conversation more than a year ago when we were adopting the 2016-17 budget, the budget that is just will come to conclusion on August 31st, and this step is that next step on the journey. This is a list of the specific projects that will be supported with this borrowing. Again, $7.6 million for boilers, $2.7 million for roofs, $2.7 million for critical fields, and $2 million for the STEM and STEAM upgrades. Related to the boilers, with these significant boiler upgrades, we will also realize some savings just in terms of energy efficiencies. When you look at boilers that were originally created in 1920, for example, you're going to get a much smaller footprint of a boiler and a more efficient boiler that will return some flexibility to the general fund. At this point in time, we're not ready to predict what that's going to look like, but we do know we will see some savings. There are legal parameters obviously associated with the borrowing, and legal parameters related with a limited general obligation bond or a non-voted debt can be found in RCW 28A 530-080. We are, again, this resolution has been prepared with the advice and guidance of legal counsel that specializes specifically in school borrowing and bonds. In alignment with policy governance, this resolution in front of you this evening also has some limitations. There are limitations to the borrowing that require the superintendent or designee to operate within the parameters of issuing this borrowing as a competitive bid. I know that sounds odd. Unlike most of us who are consumers, while you can do like LendingTree, if that's still out there, this is similar. We actually put a sealed competitive bid out on the financial market. It requires us to repay this borrowing within 15 years. It limits the interest rate we can incur to a rate not to exceed 5%. We don't expect actuals to be anywhere close to that, but you never know how the financial markets are going to move. And this also gives us the authority to issue this up through September of 2017 in the event that the markets move in an unfavorable way and we want to rebid it later. Repayment source, again, important, I think, when you talk about a non-voted debt. That means we can't assess taxes to repay this. So this debt will be paid out of a portion of the maintenance department's current budget capacity. It won't deplete it in its entirety because that doesn't help us stay ahead of what we need, but a portion of the funds that have been allocated will be used to make those principal and interest payments. And then once the voters approve the ballot proposition that's in front of you a little later on the agenda, the school construction assistance program funding money that is generated from that can be used to prepay or repay the balance. So again, I promised you the vocabulary lesson. General obligation bonds can only be sold after approved by 60% of the voters and result in a tax levy. So the resolution that you have later in your agenda is the resolution that establishes an election of the voters to consider approval of that $450 million general obligation bond. The piece that you will be specifically taking a public hearing for is related to the limited general obligation bonds, which is a non-voted debt with no taxing authority. So that's the difference between a limited bond and a general obligation bond. You're not required to have a public hearing with the general obligation bond because that's what the election is all about. That is your public hearing. So with that, I will close my presentation and allow you to move to your next part of this process.
Any questions, board members? All right, if not, we'll actually recess to official public hearing for Resolution 2017-05 on the major maintenance borrowing. At this time, I would call for any public comment.
Do we read it? We don't read it.
Oh, did we read it first?
Yeah, I think we read it.
Go ahead. No, it's after.
Okay.
It's public comment first before we read it. So is there any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll reconvene to the regular board meeting. So at this time, Vice President Wilson.
Okay. Federal Way School District Number 210, King County, Washington, Limited General Obligation Bond 2017. Resolution number 2017-05. A resolution of the Board of Directors of Federal Way School District Number 210, King County, Washington, providing for the issuance and sale of a limited general obligation bond of the district in the principal amount of not to exceed $15 million to provide funds for capital improvements to facilities of the district and authorizing the superintendent and/or the chief finance and operations officer of the district the authority to determine the structure of the bond, approve the final principal amount, interest rate, and amortization schedule for the bond under the terms and conditions set forth herein, to pay the costs of issuance of said bond and approving the sale of such bond, adopted June 13, 2017, prepared by K&L Gates LLP, Seattle, Washington.
So at this time, I would entertain a motion.
I move that the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2017-05, major maintenance borrowing.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the presentation and reading of Resolution 2017-04, new and modernized facility election. Dr. Campbell?
And I'd like to invite Sally McLean and Dr. Danny Pfeiffer up to the podium to provide a brief overview of the rationale, as well as the plans, the big plans in terms of how we would be using these funds if the voters approve this bond.
Good evening, Board President McAnally, members of the board, Dr. Campbell. It's our pleasure this evening to present to you the new and modernized facilities election resolution on behalf of Dr. Campbell, where we're seeking your approval this evening. Joining me is Chief Finance Officer Sally McLean. The purpose of this evening's presentation is to present to you the superintendent's recommendation for your approval for bonds to construct new classrooms and replace and renovate aging school facilities. Always foundational to our work that we do in the district are our 5 strategic goals. from our strategic plan, and this work is no different. And more specifically, high-quality facilities will support the development of learner-centered environments focused on whole students' personal, academic, social, and emotional development, designed to advance the goals of our strategic plan. To provide context, in order to arrive at the recommendation, we convened a 100-member committee, facilities committee, engaged in a multitude of activities. While I won't read each of these bullet points, I will highlight a few of these activities that the committee engaged in, starting first to build a shared understanding and knowledge that informed the recommendation. As a committee, they established a shared understanding of 21st century learning and what this means for our scholars and the supporting school environment. We then engaged in school tours throughout the Federal Way Public Schools, visiting some of our newest facilities as well as some of our oldest facilities, upwards of 40 years old. We both learned about and analyzed student enrollment, projections, and school capacity, developed the guiding principles, what we want a facility to offer our scholars, and we also learned about funding relative to school construction assistance programming and overall cost, looking at facility options, all of these to arrive at our recommendation that we're seeking approval for. At the 30,000-foot level, the process was comprised of 3 steps. First, the formation of our facilities planning committee itself with 100 families, community members, and staff. The committee then met each month from October through March, our final meeting being in May, to develop a preliminary recommendation. And then finally, we engaged in 5 community forums and other staff events to share our preliminary recommendation. During our committee meetings, the need for modernized facilities was made clear as we unpacked our data, and it was evident that our facilities are overcrowded, they're aging, and their need of both security and safety upgrades. As we analyzed the data, we ensured that the committee understood 3 main points, that we have 19 buildings that are 40 years or older, that currently our elementary schools are 1,000 students over capacity, and that we have a projected continued growth rate of approximately 1% a year.
So with more than half of our facilities being 40 years old or older, we know our current reality is challenging, and it will take a concerted effort over a period of years to modernize all of our buildings. Part of the effort of the Facilities Planning Committee was to ensure that they were using objective criterion to assess building conditions and learning environments, and that was part of the basis for the recommendation that the superintendent's recommendation that is captured in resolution number 2017-04. Just as a reminder, it represents phase 2 of a long-term plan. Federal Way High School was the last building in phase 1. Some key points in the superintendent's recommendation for your consideration this evening is, as Dr. Pfeiffer mentioned, this work will continue to support our strategic plan. It will provide more elementary capacity. We anticipate it will provide 960 additional spaces. It will address and begin to expand K-8 equity of opportunity. It will provide opportunities for preschool expansion. And because of the school construction assistance program funding, money that is generated when voters agree to school bonds, that SCAP money can be used to enhance all schools. And this is a fiscally responsible recommendation in the fact that, as you'll hear me talk about a couple times, we can do this without increasing the total tax collection. So the specific recommendation expands, rebuilds, or modernizes Thomas Jefferson High School, Totem Middle School, Illahee Middle School, Lake Grove Elementary, Mirror Lake Elementary, Olympic View Elementary, converting to a K-8, Star Lake Elementary, and Wildwood Elementary. It also will allow us to rebuild or modernize the Memorial Stadium stands, locker rooms, concession stands, and restrooms, and converts the old central kitchen into a central warehouse. Successful bond passage, again, it benefits all schools because of the school construction assistance program funding. It will continue to support major maintenance needs. So we just you just passed Resolution 2017-05 that addresses critical major maintenance needs, but we know over the next 10 years, we will need to continue to address entire roof replacements, address additional boiler upgrades, and continue to maintain our fields. It will provide funding to address needs in aging Phase 3 buildings. So when you have 19 buildings that are 40 years old or older, it's difficult to say, oh, you Phase 2, all you Phase 3, we're just going to leave you alone till we get to Phase 3. So we know that we'll have some aging, some major maintenance needs in some of those Phase 3 buildings before we get to Phase 3. Provides safety and security enhancements in terms of parking, pedestrian, and perimeter upgrades, and camera and entry upgrades. And the SCAP funding will also allow us to relocate Mark Twain Elementary School as Sound Transit proceeds with the Federal Way Link extension, which runs through the Mark Twain a portion of the Mark Twain ball field property. This is a $450 million ballot proposition that you're considering tonight. Again, it's been structured to not change the tax collection and will allow future leadership and boards to support Phase 3 as we move into Phase 3. So a quick picture of what that looks like. Federal Way High School, that levy, that 6-year levy expires in 2018. We also have our Phase 1 bond payments, our principal and interest payments take some significant reductions and will be fully paid off by the time we get to 2030. And so between those two components, the Federal Way High School levy and the payment of Phase 1 bonds, it provides capacity to structure Phase 2 bonds in such a way to keep those collections consistent.
So ultimately, modernizing our facilities will benefit our community, allowing us to advance the goals of the strategic plan, enhancing and expanding high-quality learning environments across our district, and modernize the learning environment to ensure future-ready students. And will reduce the overall crowding across our district while improving safety and security measures.
So Resolution 2017-04, while it's a lengthy resolution, I want to call out a couple of the highlights. One, with the adoption of the resolution, you authorize a vote of the people at the next general election on November 7th, 2017. You allow for the issuance of up to $450 million of general obligation bonds with a 60% yes vote from our voters on November 7th. The resolution also creates the exact ballot proposition wording. And you might note that this wording has changed slightly from the first draft, and you are limited to 75 words in that second sentence. And with some creative assistance from bond counsel, we have managed to include the names of each of the schools along with Memorial Stadium and the ability to undertake other general capital improvements in that ballot resolution. It also authorizes participation in the voter pamphlet, which is really automatic with a general election, but that's still in the resolution. And just as a reminder, when you participate in the voter pamphlet, the district has obligations related to soliciting a pro and con committee. So those are some of the technical aspects in the resolution tonight, along with outlining the very specific projects that are in the superintendent's recommendation.
Any questions, board members? Director Drake.
I want to thank everyone for allowing such close board representation on the Facilities Committee. I intimately know the negative impact that conditions within a school has upon our scholars' learning. And there are times when I wonder what I'm doing as a school board director. Tonight, I really feel very passionately and strongly that voting for this resolution is a powerful way to be doing the right thing for our scholars.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just had a question that the resolution in front of us isn't specific with schools, but the one on the slide had the school's name. So I'm just wanting to make sure whatever we do, we're using the right.
So it was the ballot proposition language that I had on the screen. and
Okay,
the
not
ballot
the resolution
proposition-
that we're.
Right, and the ballot
Okay.
proposition language is listed twice in that resolution, once in the body of the resolution and once at the very end. So I just was calling out the fact that when you adopt this resolution, you're also adopting the ballot language.
Thank you. That's a great clarification. I appreciate that.
Any other questions? Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So bonds to construct new classrooms and replace and renovate aging and deteriorating school facilities. Resolution number 2017-04. A resolution of the Board of Directors of Federal Way School District Number 210, King County, Washington, providing for the form of the ballot proposition and specifying certain other details concerning submission to the qualified electors of the district at a special election to be held therein on November 7th, 2017, of a proposition of the issuance of the general obligation bond in the aggregate principal amount of $450 million, or so much thereof as may be issued under the laws governing the indebtedness of school districts for the purpose of providing funds for the remodeling, renovation, upgrade, rebuilding, and enlarging of existing facilities, and the acquisition, construction, and equipping of new school facilities, and authorizing the superintendent and/or the chief financial and operations officer to submit a request for eligibility for the Washington State School District Credit Enhancement Program, adopted June 13th, 2017. This time I would entertain a motion.
I move, as soon as I find it, that the Board of Education approve the oh, no, that's not it. This is a good meeting for me. I move that the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2017-04, new and modernized facilities election.
Of a motion, do I hear a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to just, for the sake of clarification, read the attached language in terms of the capital improvements, so that it's clear that it's the same things that were discussed during our public sessions that I attended with the facility committee doing the briefings. The district shall make the following capital improvements: the improvements, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping Thomas Jefferson High School, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping Totem Middle School, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping Illahee Middle School, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping Lake Grove Elementary School, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping Mirror Lake Elementary School, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping Olympic View Elementary School as K-8 school, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping Star Lake Elementary School, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping Wildwood Elementary School, rebuild and enlarge, including equipping of the 45-year-old Memorial Stadium used by 4 high schools and the general community, including grandstands, locker room, and restroom, and repurpose the former central kitchen to create a central warehouse for the district.
Great. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and we are adjourned.